This happened in the days of Ahasuerus, the same Ahasuerus who ruled over 127 provinces, from India to Ethiopia. In those days, when King Ahasuerus sat on his royal throne in the citadel of Susa, in the 3rd year of his reign, he gave a banquet for all of his officials and ministers. The army of Persia and Media and the nobles and governors of the provinces were present, while he displayed the great wealth of his kingdom and the splendor and pomp of his majesty for many days, 180 days in all. When these days were completed, the king gave for all the people present in the citadel of Susa, both great and small, a banquet lasting for 7 days in the court of the garden of the king's palace. Well, with these opening verses of the book of Esther, we know right off that this guy is rich, powerful, and that he really likes to show off. The first verse informs us that he rules most of the known world. And so we are dealing with power, imperial power. So right off, our ears should perk up because we know that throughout the Bible, Scripture is dealing with how to live with imperial power, whether it is the Hebrews enslaved by Egypt or all the way to the book of Revelation and the persecution of the church by Rome. So this is going to be one of those stories about living in the context of an imperial power. On the 7th day, when the king was merry with wine, he commanded Mehuman, Biztha, Harbona, Bigtha, and Abagtha, Zethar, and Carcas, the 7 eunuchs who attended him, to bring Queen Vashti before the king, wearing the royal crown, in order to show the peoples and the officials her beauty, for she was fair to behold. But Queen Vashti refused to come at the king's command conveyed by the eunuchs. At this the king was enraged, and his anger burned within him. Well, on a side note, before I go on with the story, there are eunuchs in this book. Many of them, and they are named. Eunuchs, of course we know, are queer presences in these ancient stories. They are men who cannot reproduce, either because they have been born that way or made that way. They could be trans, intersex, or gay. There are indications of all these in the ancient literature. And they are always represented as a 3rd gender category in the ancient world. Therefore, it's a good reminder that there are queer people present in the biblical narrative. So back to the main story. Queen Vashti is courageous. What's her motive? Is it that she will not allow herself to be objectified? That she will not allow herself to be an object of pleasure for a room of drunken men? But whatever her motive, which we do not know, she challenges the man who rules the world. He may rule over 127 provinces, from Ethiopia to India, but he does not rule in his own home with the one who shares his own bed. It is a mighty challenge to his power, and he knows it. And he immediately seeks counsel from his advisors on what he's supposed to do. And it's an interesting little statement that they make. We see right off what their fear really is. Then Memucan said to the presence of the king and his officials, not only has Queen Vashti done wrong to the king, but also to all of the officials and all the peoples in the provinces ruled by King Ahasuerus. For this deed of the queen will be made known to all women, causing them to look with contempt on their husbands. Since they will say King Ahasuerus commanded Queen Vashti to be brought before him, and she did not. This very day the noble ladies of Persia and Media, who have heard of the queen's behavior, will rebel against these officials. And there will be no end of contempt and wrath if it pleases the king. Let a royal order go forth from here. Let it be written among the walls of the Persians and the Medes so that it cannot be changed forever, that Vashti is never again to come before King Ahasuerus, and let the king give her royal position to another who is better than she. So when the decree made by the king is proclaimed throughout all his kingdom, vast as it is, all women will give honor to their husbands, high and low alike. So Ahasuerus sets Queen Vashti aside. And to console him, the text tells us that the harem is expanded with a number of new young virgins. This is the story. It's a funny story. Feel free to laugh. We're told in detail, great detail, in chapter 2 of the books of Exodus, of the inner workings of the harem. The young virgins undergo 1 year of cosmetic treatment. Direct quote. 6 months with oil of myrrh, 6 months with perfumes and cosmetics. Then the girl who is sent to the king of an evening, and in the morning she is taken to what is called the second harem. And for most of these girls, the king never encounters them again. They spend the rest of their life in the harem, having only spent 1 night with the king. Only those who find favor with the king might get another visit. Well, one of the young virgins in the harem is a Jewish girl named Esther. Now there was a Jew in the city of Susa whose name was Mordecai, son of Jair, son of Shimei, son of Kish, a Benjamite. Kish had been carried away from Jerusalem among the captives, carried away with King Jeconiah of Judah, whom King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon had carried away. Mordecai had brought up Hadassah, that is Esther, his cousin, for she had neither father nor mother. The girl was fair and beautiful. And when her father and her mother died, Mordecai adopted her as his own daughter. So when the king's order and his edict were proclaimed, and when many young women were gathered in the citadel of Susa in the custody of Hegai, Esther also was taken into the king's palace and put in the custody of Hegai, who had charge over the women. So what happened to Esther then? After she had her year of cosmetic and beauty treatment, and she got her chance to have sex with the king. When Esther was taken to King Ahasuerus in his royal palace in the 10th month, which is the month of Tebet, in the 7th year of his reign, the king loved Esther more than all the other women. Of all the virgins, she won his favor and devotion, so that he set the royal crown on her head and made her queen instead of Vashti. Then the king gave a great banquet to all of his officials and ministers, Esther's banquet. And he also granted a holiday to the provinces and gave gifts with royal liberality. Well, the whole time that Esther had been in the harem, Mordecai, her cousin, had been visiting out at the king's gate and keeping informed about her by the eunuchs going back and forth and delivering messages. And in this process, Mordecai uncovers the plot. In those days, while Mordecai was sitting at the king's gate, Bigthan and Teresh, 2 of the king's eunuchs, who guarded the threshold, became angry and conspired to assassinate Ahasuerus. But the matter came to the knowledge of Mordecai, and he told it to Queen Esther, and Esther told the king in the name of Mordecai. And when the affair was investigated and to be found so, both men were hanged on the gallows. It is recorded in the book of the Annals in the presence. Now, completely unrelated to this episode, the plot kind of moves to another scene, and we learn that the king has promoted Haman as his senior official. And now everyone has to bow down and do obeisance to Haman. Now, we're not told why, but for some reason, Mordecai doesn't want to go along. He doesn't obey. He doesn't bow down to him. When Haman saw that Mordecai did not bow down or do obeisance to him, Haman was infuriated. But he thought it beneath him to lay hold on Mordecai alone. So having been told who Mordecai's people were, Haman plotted to destroy all Jews, the people of Mordecai, throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus. So Haman persuades the king that there is a certain people scattered and separated among the peoples in all the provinces of your kingdom. Their laws are different from those of every other people. They do not keep the king's laws, so that it is not appropriate for the king to tolerate them, if it please the king, let a decree be issued for their destruction. And Ahasuerus agrees to Haman's request.